Since the violence in Sudan broke out, we've been working very hard to ensure the safety of both our diplomats and also British nationals. I'm really pleased that over the weekend we were able to safely evacuate our diplomats and their families, and we now have an operation underway to evacuate British nationals. The first flight has already left. There will be more flights this evening and into tomorrow. Now, all of that is only possible because of the hard work of lots of people behind me in the Foreign Office Crisis Centre here in London that brings together people from across government, but also, of course, our teams, armed forces and others on the ground in Sudan. I'm very grateful to all of them for making this possible.
And clearly, like you said, there's a huge amount of work going on, and people are clearly working around the clock here trying to offer assistance. And yet, why is it that many people that we and others speak to in Khartoum say that the Foreign Office isn't helping them, are failing them even? Like, what's going wrong?
Well, I've been chairing Cobras on this situation since Thursday, every day since Thursday, and I'm pleased that we were actually one of the first countries to safely evacuate our diplomats and their families. And it was right that we prioritised them because they were being specifically targeted. Now, the security situation on the ground in Sudan is complicated, it is volatile, and we wanted to make sure that we can put in place processes that are going to work for people, are going to be safe and effective. And we now have over 100 people on the ground in Sudan. The first flight has already left with British nationals. We have more flights this evening, and we'll have many more into tomorrow, and that is down to the hard work of lots of people, and we will keep at it. We've actually already contacted over 1,000 people in Sudan. We've spoken to hundreds. That's what the people behind me have been doing. They're making their way to the airfield, and we will safely evacuate them as quickly as we can.
So the day today started with people being told not to come to the airfield until they're called forward. And then that advice was updated to a general call for people to come forward. It does seem a bit confusing. Like, are you worried that this lack of clarity could lead to empty seats on planes or a mad scramble with lots of people coming to the airport? Like, are you able to say, is this first flight full or are there empty seats?
Well, it's exactly because we want to make sure that the evacuations are happening in an effective and safe manner that we decide how best to call people forward. That evolves depending on the situation on the ground. The first flight that left took everybody that was at the airfield and eligible is on that flight. There will be more flights this evening and then many more into tomorrow. We're contacting people both directly, but also we've issued out a general call for people. If they can make their way to the airfield, they will then be processed and safely evacuated. At the same time, we can't guarantee the long-term sustainability of the airfield that we're currently using. So we're also exploring and standing up other alternative routes for safe exit from Sudan. That work is also underway, potentially in Port Sudan as one of those leading options. So we're doing that work in parallel as well. But rest assured, we're in contact with everybody. The airfield is now working, flights are taking off, British nationals have already left, and we will keep getting as many of them as we can on the planes as we go forward.
And can you say how long this is going to last? Like, how long will this mission continue, and can you guarantee that you won't rest until every British national is safe?
Well, the security situation in Sudan is complicated and it is volatile. We're taking advantage of the window that we have at the moment, where there is, as you know, a temporary ceasefire to safely evacuate British nationals. What we are also doing is working together with international partners to try and bring about a more sustained ceasefire and hopefully a return to civilian government in Sudan. That's the best solution to avoid more humanitarian impact. That work is also ongoing. One of the things that this crisis centre brings together is all aspects of our response to Sudan. It's right that we focus on that as well. But we now, as I said, we've got an operation up and running with over 100 people on the ground, thousands of people in Sudan, British nationals being contacted, and hopefully many of them will make their way to the airport, where we have the ability now to evacuate them safely over the next 24 hours in very significant numbers, and that's what we're determined to deliver.
And can I just check for the pool, that first flight, it is full or there are empty seats?
No, the first flight has taken everybody that was there at the airfield who could be processed. We actually have 2 more flights this evening and then many more into tomorrow, which will be able to evacuate several hundred people if they can make their way to the airfield. But that's why it's so important that we contact everybody, and that's what the team here are doing. I said over 1,000 people contacted, hundreds spoken to directly, and as they can make their way for the airfield, we have the team on the ground there to process them, make sure they're eligible, and then get get them on the planes and get them safely home. That operation is now up and running, but it's only thanks to the hard work of all the people behind me and everyone on the ground there. They're doing a fantastic job. They're working 24/7 to make this possible, and we will keep at it.
And please, could you forgive me a domestic question? Just one last one, please. So Dominic Raab has obviously resigned last week, saving you from that decision. But why didn't you sack him? And are you 100% confident that he will be the last to leave your government for falling short of ministerial standards?
Well, when these complaints first came to light, I appointed an independent leading barrister to look at them. Dominic Raab said at the time, if that investigation found against him, that he would resign, and he's been good to his word and has done that. And I think it's now right that we move forward.